And hello once again to another episode of Late Night Parents. I am Ted Hicks, and across from me is none other than Richie Valdez.
I can't introduce myself. What's up, Teddy Ted? What's going on?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good. All good.
Ways to follow the show, latenightparents.com. For those of you that are lazy, lnp.tv. So we're here for another show, another weekly show. We have a special guest in the queue.
We do.
We do. None other. I think I told you 2 weeks ago.
Yes, you did.
In the midst of you graduating and transitioning to the Suffolk Auxiliary Police, I, on behalf of the brand, went to go see a movie.
Yes, I was busy that night. I really wish I could have made it, but I knew you were there to represent.
Right. So along with that, what we did was, before we even went to go see the movie, I took my son, who's 11 and who's totally all into social media and technology devices, all the above. We ran a little promo for free passes.
Nice.
That were out. That was for an event that was happening in Deer Park, Long Island, right around in your hood.
Around the corner from me.
Around the corner from you. I got to tell you, great movie theater.
Yes.
Fantastic movie theater. I mean, just the
went,
area.
You went to the one that's in Tanger Outlets?
Yes, the one in Tanger Outlets.
Yep.
So I've only been to Tanger Outlets on 2 occasions.
Okay.
Both times to see a movie.
Okay.
Haven't been out there to shop yet, but so much better than going to further out east.
Oh, to go to Riverhead?
Yes.
Totally. Much better. It's better laid out, I think. It doesn't get quite as packed, except, of course, during the holiday season. And, yeah, of course, you got the nice restaurants around there. You've got, so much else up along that area if you venture just a little bit outside of the Tanger Outlets. And that movie theater is great.
Yes, it is. So we went there to see a movie. It was the screening for the movie Searching.
Yes.
Which was a great movie. It kind of, you didn't know what to expect. Like, you're kind of thinking, like, okay, well, it's going to be another movie where, a child goes missing, and yada, 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 yada.
Right.
You take that story and you kind of weave into it the technology devices.
Right, yeah, you were saying last time we were on the air.
Really, 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 really excellent movie. We'll get into it. In the queue, we have none other than Sev Ohanian calling from out of the United States.
Okay.
Sev, how you doing?
Good. What's up, guys? Great
Hey,
to be on the show.
Glad to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Sev,
Man, I'm calling you guys from Frankfurt, Germany.
Frankfurt, Germany.
I was out in Munich. I was in Munich for the last couple of days. Searching had its Germany premiere out here at the Munich Film Festival,
Nice.
and we did a little bit of press and obviously showed the film to German audiences. And for me, and I was lucky that I got to come out and help represent the film on behalf of the rest of the filmmakers and Sony. And what's really cool for me is I was actually born in Germany 31 years ago.
No kidding.
And I lived in Germany for 4 months, and then my parents immigrated us to L.A., and I've never been back. And I was born in a small, town that's, about 5 feet long. And once we finished up at Munich, I took a train, and I came out to Frankfurt, and I kind of spent the last 9 hours exploring my birthplace and my roots. So
That's awesome.
Nothing to do with Searching, but the reason why I'm calling you guys from Frankfurt. It was a big day for me.
Perfect. It's always good. It's always good to have a great homecoming.
Yeah, it was great. But thank you so much for the kind words about the film. Like that, it's so cool. To give you guys a little bit of quick background on this film, we're super lucky that it's having this big, worldwide release, thanks to our friends at Sony. But at its core and at its origins, Searching was a film that was basically made by a couple of close friends, myself, my co-writer and director, Anish Chaganti, my producing partner, Natalie Kasabian, and a bunch of other people involved in our film. We all pretty much met at film school. We're all relatively young, although they're all younger than I am, so I probably can't say that. And this is a film, as you said, Ted, like it's kind of like this unconventional. We like to call it like a really traditional and conventional thriller told in the most insanely unconventional way possible. So it's never going to get old for us hearing anybody's thoughts on the film, whether it's people like yourselves or whether it's everyday fans out there. Like it's never going to get old. We consider every person who gets to see the film and says anything about it a plus all the way.
Sev, I think the way you told the story, using social media, using the different applications and devices and appliances out there, I think that thought process of what you use, someone's going to quickly copycat that.
It sounds like it.
That's funny. Like, and for those that don't know, Searching is a story it's a thriller about a father searching for his missing daughter, and the way he's going about looking for her is that he's kind of going through her laptop and trying to find information and clues as to where she might be. And of course, in the process, he learns things about her that he never imagined he could learn. And the unconventional part is the fact that the entire film takes place on the technology devices that we use every single day, laptops, iPhones, iPads, whatever. And, it's interesting. It's funny what you say about copycats, because when this film kind of started off, if you care to learn, like we basically, Anish and I, being writing partners and him being a director and me being a producer as a team, we had made a really, really, really cool, like 2.5-minute short film that we shot on the Google glasses. You guys remember those at all?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Like they were going to be the future, like rest in peace.
You were the one that built
it. And basically, like, that video caught the attention of a bunch of, that video got Anish hired at Google, where he actually spent about 2 years writing and directing several commercials for them. And one way or another, I landed a meeting with a production company called Basilevs, which is run by Timur Bekmambetov. And he's a director who's done movies like Wanted with Angelina Jolie, but as a producer, one of his successes was a film called Unfriended. Have you guys seen Unfriended?
Have not.
It sounds familiar, but I have not.
So Unfriended is a horror film about a group of teenagers Skyping together at night, and it all takes place on a laptop as well, and they get haunted by a ghost that starts killing them off one by one. And it was a co-production between Timur's company and Blumhouse, and Universal released it, and actually it did really well in theaters, and there's a sequel coming out soon also. And when Anish and I first got in the mix with this company, they offered us a chance to pitch so that we can write, produce, and direct a short film that would take place on devices.
Okay.
And we pitched Searching. We came up with the idea as an 8-minute short film, because when they started talking about computer screen movies, we were like, we're not interested. We don't want to make a 90-minute full-length feature film on devices. That sounds like a gimmick. So we pitched them Searching as a short. They bring us into the room, and this is like a dream come true, because Searching is Anish's first feature. Anish had done nothing at the time.
Wow.
And I've been an indie producer for a couple of years, and I was lucky that my first film was a movie called Fruitvale Station that kind of helped launch a number of awesome other great indies that I've been to be a producer on. But we were basically kids. We're babies, right? And we're in this room, and we pitched them our 8-minute short film, and they say to us, we don't want to make the short. And we were kind of bummed, but, it's all good. And they say instead, we'd rather make that idea into a feature film. Sev, you should produce it, Anish, you should direct it, and we'll pay you guys to write the script. What do you say?
Wow.
And Anish's immediate response was no. He goes like, oh, no thanks, I'm good. And I kind of, like, being the producer in the room, I'm kind of like kicking Anish underneath the table, and I was like, he means we'll think about it. Like, no problem, not no. And, Anish's gut reaction and, like, collectively our thoughts were we didn't want to make Searching because we felt like Unfriended had already been made, just kind of speaking to what you mentioned about copycats.
Correct.
And it took us a long time to kind of, like, debate internally, like, whether or not we wanted to try and make a film that would take place on devices. And it was only until a few weeks as we were thinking about it and hadn't gone back to Timur's company that Anish texted me saying, I have an idea for an opening scene. And I texted him, dude, I have an idea. So we called each other and we both pitched each other the same exact idea for opening scene. And Ted, you've seen the film, right? So
correct.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Like, we came up with this idea of a way to, like, in a few minutes, very much inspired by Pixar's Up and also we like to call it like Up meets like Google commercials.
Okay.
That we could spend in just a few minutes. We can establish characters, get people to be invested in them, and our hope was that after those first 5 minutes, the way we would pull it off in the storytelling and the filmmaking was that people would just forget that what they're watching is taking place on devices.
Right.
So Ted, tell me straight up, man, like, did that work on you?
That did work on me, and I will tell you this myself. Rich and I have been information technology professionals for 20 years apiece. 25 probably for Rich, 20 years for myself.
Wow.
So totally, was totally into it. And you touched the market of and we always go back and forth, but on the millennial. The millennial deals with everything, like Rich and I talk about my son, how he doesn't watch TV, he watches YouTube.
Right.
Or he's on Snap, or he's on, so it totally clicked in because he's always on his MacBook. He's always on some social media and showing me some video on YouTube, always. Whether it's, another kid dancing or whatever the case is, it tied right in. And you had the attention of 11-year-olds. So I just want to let you know that's the amazing thing about it.
So,
that's the best audience we can ask for, man. That's awesome. I'm really happy to hear your son was into the film like that.
Definitely. Hey, we're talking with Sev Ohanian, co-writer and producer of Searching. I know Rich has a question. Sev, I just have one quick question for you is, so you're writing, this has been your field, this has been your passion. What was the big break?
What was the big break? There's so, like, for me, I always wanted to be a filmmaker, and I found that it was going to be an impossible route for me because I don't come from a family of money or any kind of connections, and I actually decided to go down the route of probably the one less stable career path possible, which was journalism. I love writing news. I was editor-in-chief of my high school newspaper. I interned at the LA Times because I grew up in LA. I went to college for journalism. But about 10 years ago, I started kind of making these little YouTube videos with my friends, poking fun at our parents because I'm Armenian American, and like a lot of immigrant families and like ethnic families in America, like there's a lot of fun to be had with that. I put these little videos on YouTube just for my friends to watch. They blew up and became this cult classic among Armenians around the world. Put a film together that I spent $800 of my own money paying for the film, shot on my dad's own video camera. I wrote, directed, edited, produced, and shot this film. I did every job except for makeup. And then the makeup artist quit, so then I did makeup too. And just basically like willed this tiny little film to life called My Big Fat Armenian Family. And to my complete and utter shock, like Armenians showed up and they came and supported and they spent a lot of money and people, and to me it was like this something that like, the fact that this little thing had so much success, which I think really speaks to what's happening in cinemas across the world now, with this proof that films starring minorities and diverse actors really do well across the world. I had a young, hungry audience. Long story short, I felt so empowered by the fact that something I thought of had actually like made an impact with audiences. I quit journalism. I applied to film school, and I was lucky enough to get admitted to USC School of Cinematic Arts. And when I was in film school, I kind of made a reputation for myself. I would kind of produce all the films that the faculty members would probably be frowning upon. And, I was about to graduate and go and probably work my way up as an assistant or something when a former student called me, asked me to come help him produce a film he was making. And that former student was Ryan Coogler, and it was his first feature, Fruitvale Station.
Yes.
And, Ryan's obviously gone on to make Creed, and, he just released Black Panther a few months ago. For me, I would say my break, I guess part of me is saying, like, I can't wait to have that break, but it really has come down to, like, just kind of, not being afraid to try things and working hard and kind of, like, trying to be a good person while I'm doing everything so that reputation has kind of carried me forward. Does that kind of help answer that question a little bit?
Totally.
Yeah, totally. That definitely answers it. A little bit, you had just mentioned about actors, actresses. I see, looking at, again, I didn't get a chance to view the film, but I've, gone on IMDb, looked at some of the information about it. And a couple of your lead actors, John Cho, Deborah Messing, how were you able to get pretty much A-list actors
Mm-hmm.
in this, seemingly small little production?
Great question. One thing I'll mention right off the bat is John Cho is Korean American. Our
Yes.
cast is predominantly Asian. And, Anish is an Indian American, I'm Armenian American. But for us, and this is not a film about Asian people, it's a film about a family. It's a film about a father and a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
We knew from the very beginning we were going to want to put a family on screen that doesn't often get portrayed. And we're both Anish and I and Natalie, we're all about films that are about representation, that are about diversity. Those films should exist. Searching is not one of them. Searching at its core, it's a popcorn thriller that just happens to star an Asian American man. And every time people would ask us, well, why do you guys want John Cho? Like, why does he have to be Asian? Our only response would be, why not?
Right.
Moving forward, like how we got them was a bit more challenging. Like we feel okay to tell the story because John has said it himself in press.
Mm-hmm.
But John actually turned down the project initially. We had, we got in touch with him through like the usual channels of his agency and stuff like that. And me having helped produce a bunch of films already, I kind of had a bit of a, I had a path to get to his agent at least. Presented the script to him, and what usually happens is like we'll have the director write a personal letter to the actor for why they're the perfect person for the role. Mm-hmm. And we had written the film for John. Like in the script it said David Kim.
Okay.
And John, John liked it enough that we were trying to set up a meeting between him and Anish. And what ended up happening instead is the agents said to us, hey guys, what's Anish's cell phone number? John's going to call Anish directly to have a conversation. So, and Anish tells the story beautifully, but basically John, Anish was so excited because he knew at 2 o'clock on that day, John Cho was going to call him. I think literally everybody in Anish's life knew that this call was about to happen. It was a real life celebrity is going to be dialing his phone.
Yeah.
So John calls Anish. They have a great 15-minute conversation. And then the second Anish hangs up the phone, he says to me, I messed that up.
Really?
And he realized later on it was because he let the actor drive the conversation. John was asking questions, and he was answering questions.
Right.
And that was pretty much it. And one of the questions actually was John, just kind of making this all full circle, John was saying, what is this film Unfriended I'm hearing about? And because he had heard that Unfriended was basically the main indicator of a previous film that was on screens. And, and John told Anish, I'm going to check that film out to see if it'll help me make my decision.
Okay.
So we heard from our casting director the next day that John was leaning away from doing the film now because he had watched Unfriended and he didn't respond to that film.
Okay.
And I quickly called his agent and I was like, hey, I'm hearing this John's leaning away. And the agent says, he's not leaning away. I'm like, great. She says he passed. It's over.
Oh, wow.
And we're like, whoa. And we're like, no, like, come on. Like, this is it. This is the film. And she mentioned that the main reason he was passing was because he just did not respond to Unfriended and didn't want to make a movie that would be like that. And from the very beginning, even in the script, we were always seeking to make our own stamp on this kind of, screen kind of movie. And Ted, you could probably speak to this. Like, we try to make the film feel as cinematic as possible and have emotion and thrills and tension and twists. And we knew that we would have failed if we didn't have John, especially if he was passing on it for the wrong reason.
Right.
But it was very clear we were not able to go through the agents. There was no way we could ever get in touch with John if his agents and lawyer had anything to do with it. And as we were sitting there, Anish had an idea. He's like, wait a minute. John called me on my cell phone.
Right. You got his
we're
number.
Like, right?
Call back.
He's like, I got his number, bro.
Yes.
So we did probably the one thing you're never supposed to do. We went around his team. Anish texted John like a very short text. Hey, I heard you passed, but it sounds like you passed for reasons that I think are not fair. If you'd be open at all, I'd love to take you out for a drink and explain the movie to you in person and see what your decision is. For 7 hours, nothing. I think maybe 3 hours in, there was a couple of bubbles, like he was going to respond.
Right.
Nothing. Finally, he gets the text,
good.
and John says to him, like, cool, like, let's grab drinks or whatever.
Okay.
They have drinks at this little restaurant in L.A., and I think the moment Anish says this so beautifully, but the moment John sat down, Anish stood up. And for the next hour, he basically acted out the entire film, the one that you saw, Ted, like, to John in this crowded bar. And, like, he had his laptop. He was explaining things. He was, like, doing the performances himself to make sure that John knew what Anish's vision was of the movie we all wanted to make. Anish, and we had told Anish, by the way, we're like, hey, the moment his team finds out that we've done this, we're never going to work in this town again. So you can't let him leave this bar without him shaking your hand and saying,
Correct.
I'm in.
Yeah.
So then Anish finishes. John thinks. Then he looks down at his phone and looks up and says, I got to go put my kids to bed.
Oh,
Thank you so much, Anish. So that's it. Anish calls me, and I'm like, okay, great. We should all look for other careers now. Like, that's not a good promising sign.
We're done in
And then
L.A.
the very next, 100%. And then the next morning, his agent calls me directly. And I'm like, okay, great. This is like my funeral for sure.
Right.
And, I've done a couple of movies now, and oftentimes when agents call to say that their actor is going to do a movie with you, it's often a great call. Hey, great news. We're all going to be working great together. We can't wait. We're in for this movie. Like, what are the details? Let's do this. I get the opposite of that call. It was a very short, brief, curt, and frankly, like, upset phone call about how their client was going to do the film. And I was just making sure, like, so John Cho is going to be doing searching. And they were like, yes. And they just clicked on me.
Wow.
And it was great. We were super happy, and we were so thrilled. And we honestly don't blame the agents. Like, imagine the pitch of this movie, like, on paper, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's, like, going to be a thrilling cinematic experience that's going to move audiences. By the way, a lot of it's going to be happening on Facebook.
Right.
Like, it's not the best pitch on the planet, but, to John's credit and frankly, to his team's credit for being willing to trust us with this thing, because it did take us a long time to make it, we were able to get to where we were, and it was nice to be able to celebrate the film's success. We premiered at Sundance a couple of months ago, and that exact agent was backstage with us, partying and celebrating and laughing about how it all came together.
Good,
but,
good.
kind of like a really cool, like, dream scenario for a first-time filmmaker for sure.
This is Ted Hicks and Rich Valdez. This is Late Night Parents. We're speaking with co-writer and producer Sev Ohanian. Sev, want to give you and your team a big shout-out because Searchin' won the Alfred P. Sloan Prize as well as the Next Audience Award at this year's Sundance Film Festival. So
Yep.
a lot going on there. So tell us about When It Hits America.
So Searching is going to be coming out worldwide, which is insane for us because we made this film with two editors working on the same computers you'd probably buy your kids to do their homework on.
Yes.
And in the process of localizing the film, meaning like changing the languages so that it plays in Russia and Germany and Asia or wherever it may be, we had 20 people working on 20 machines. Like literally there's a version of this movie now where they're typing in Russian and every language you can imagine.
Wow.
But the American release for American audiences is August 3rd, and it's going to be a big release. We have an incredible marketing team who's been putting out some fantastic trailers and spots and doing a lot of targeting to make sure that kids are aware, that parents are aware.
Yes.
One of the funny things was as we were finalizing the film and kind of finishing the movie to have our Sundance premiere, we had a situation where our financier kind of forced us against our will to do something called a test, where you take the film, even though it was unfinished at the time, and we screened it for 210 complete strangers in a city well outside of LA. And when we did this, we were all kind of like not happy about that because we'd kind of done our own testing with our friends, and it was too late for us to really make changes to the movie at that point anyway.
Right.
But to our surprise, man, like that test, our numbers went through the roofs, and like kids loved the movie, parents loved the movie, women, men. It was awesome. And I'm proud to say, since we never made a single change to that film. So what we have learned is that, like, what we were finding is that anyone who sees the film loves the film and will tell people about it. And that's why it's so cool that you guys hosted that screening and are obviously having a show about it. We really, it's so funny. When I was here in Germany and I was talking to complete strangers on the street, I would literally say, yo, come check out our film. If you don't cry within the first 5 minutes, I'll pay you 10 euros. And I'm proud to say I haven't paid a single euro so far. So thank God people are being honest. But yeah, it'll be coming out in theaters in August 3rd. I would encourage whoever's listening to at least check out the trailer. Yep. I promise you guys it's going to be something you haven't seen in a long time, but at the same time it's going to be emotional, funny, gripping. And one of my favorite things to do, and this is maybe a little bit of a spoiler, but not really, is I love sneaking into screenings of the film, especially for the last half, and just watching as the audience members gasp and grab each other and whisper to each other. Like, did you have that experience, Ted, at your screening?
Sev, I have to jump in here because I was going to mention the ending, but it would be shortchanging it the last 30 minutes, totally the twists and turns that happened in the movie.
Yep.
I said, "Oh, this is great," and I'm explaining to my son at the time. I'm like, you're not watching what's going on.
Uh-huh.
This is actually
yeah.
what's happening." He's like, "Oh, okay." So I mean, the last 30 minutes was great. Totally not what I expected.
And what's great, I mean, again, like we're speaking in code here, obviously, but Ted, like, imagine rewatching the movie now, and like what version you're gonna like. It changes. The movie completely is a different rewatch. But anyway, obviously, your guys' listeners will see for themselves
Definitely.
August 3rd. But yeah, that's cool, man. I love that your son and you share that experience together, man. That's so cool. What's your son's name?
My son's name is Nehemiah.
Great name.
Yep.
Of course. It's so funny, man. Like, the YouTube videos are a thing. Like, I was watching cartoons as a kid, but these people are watching, like, basketball tutorials and other kids. It's crazy.
The one thing I'm saying here is I wish I had been able to see it so I'd be in on the story. But August 3rd, I'll be looking for it when it comes out. And also, I think some congratulations are in order for you and Anish, huh? Because Lionsgate has signed up to develop another movie with you, Run.
Yes. So Anish and I wrote our second feature that he's going to direct, and I'm going to produce, and also produce again with Natalie Kasabian, who produced Searching. Kind of like the three of us are a cute little team, I guess. And yeah, man, we're so excited. Run is also a really engaging thriller about a family. We kind of like to stick into family themes, whereas Searching is kind of like a positive look on family. Run is very much the exact opposite.
Okay.
And Run takes place entirely on an Apple Watch as someone is running.
Okay.
Oh, my goodness.
Well,
I'm
looking
totally
forward
kidding.
to
It
that.
does not take place on an Apple Watch. It's a regular movie this time.
We're like,
It's
all right, so
literally-
he's got a hook and he's going to stick with it.
I'm
Okay.
like, okay. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
that's good.
we're never doing anything like this ever again. One
Gotcha.
time was plenty.
Gotcha. Hey, so Sev, for our listeners who want to follow updates about either Searching or about you, what's the best ways they can find out about you on social media?
Okay, cool. I mean, I'm less important, but my social media handle is always just at Sev Ohanian, SEVOHANIAN. But the best social media to follow right now is easily at Searching Movie, because there's continuously really cool nude spots and trailers that they're putting together that, just like the film, do not look like any other spots you've probably seen before. And the hashtag for the film is Searching Movie, hashtag Searching Movie. And my favorite thing right now, that your viewers, if they need any more nudging to check out the film, is to look up hashtag search my review. Hashtag search my review.
Okay.
Because we've invited people who have seen the film and have screened the film to put their thoughts out into the world, and literally people are reviewing the film, because we've had so many fun little screenings like yours, and you can just see, if you just type in hashtag search my review, people's honest thoughts on the film. And so far, overwhelmingly, they've all been positive.
That's
So
a great idea.
those are the things to check out if anyone wants to learn more about the film.
Sev, I tell you, when the movie comes back out, or when you start to develop the movie Run, definitely want to have you back. And hey, you're a part of the Late Night Parents family.
Dude, honored. Thank you guys so much, man. This has been really fun. It's so cool talking to you guys.
It's
I can't
been
wait to
a
hear
pleasure.
both of your thoughts once you both get to see it. But especially, it'd be fun to actually come back and actually talk more openly about the film once you guys
That'd be
have
great.
seen it too.
That'd be great.
Thank
So
you for the
we'll
opportunity.
schedule something in a couple of months.
All right, sounds
All right.
great. You guys
right.
have a great late night.
All right.
Thanks,
Take
Sev.
care, buddy.
Have a good one.
Talk to you later. Take care,
care.
guys. Bye.
So that was Sev Ohanian, co-writer and producer of the movie Searching. I didn't think we were going to be able to get him, but I got to tell you this much: the beauty of Twitter, Rich.
No, this is the puppeteer, the grandmaster,
The
doing what he does
beauty
best.
of Twitter, of being able to just back and forth and just reaching out to people.
Yeah.
And it was, one of those situations where I was like, oh, this guy's cool.
Yeah,
Guy's
he
cool.
seems like it.
And we were going back and forth.
Right.
And I was like, hey, why don't you come on? And he was just like, after you see the movie.
That's
So
fair.
I said, that's fair. I
Yeah.
said, hey, we're running the special on the site.
Yep.
We're talking it up.
Yep.
This is what we're doing. You could see this is not because for some reason, Rich, people immediately think you're trying to troll them or something like that.
They probably think you're either trying to troll them or just trying to get something free out of them.
Right.
That's all it is.
But I got to tell you, it was great conversation online. The movie delivers.
Yeah.
The movie delivers. The last 30 minutes of the movie, don't want to blow it for you, totally delivers. And you're just like, and you're sitting there, you're saying, John Cho and Deborah Messing. I'm like, okay, these are not low-budget actors.
Right.
Yeah,
I noticed. Yeah.
And then, the fact that, they got Sony behind them.
Yep. So
dollars and cents.
As he said, they will have a global release, international.
Yes.
If the movie is half as good as the both of you are making it sound like, I think they have a winner on their hands.
Oh, I definitely think they do. Want to switch gears. Want to thank Sev once again. A couple of things I wanted to speak with you, but one in particular, as you know, this is an unscripted show.
The remainder will be unscripted. All right, phone goes down.
Okay,
don't need my notes.
And I'm going to say to you, Netflix is considering a pricier ultra tier. Are they about to jump the shark?
I don't know.
They're talking about $16.99 plus.
Right, plus, and this is, if I remember correctly, this is so you get Ultra 4K everywhere, four devices at one time.
Right.
I mean, is this a case of
greed is good?
Greed is good, and they know they'll get it. And to be fair, that's still a good price point. I think anything under $20 a month is a fair price point. Now, of course, that they want to start locking it down to 4 devices.
Rich, we
$8.99 is what we were paying, right? Or was it $6.99?
I was paying $6 or $7.99.
Yes.
And I was happy with that.
We're very happy.
And then it went to $8.99, and then $9.99.
We're still happy.
And then someone in my household decided that we need to connect to more than 2 devices simultaneously. So someone arbitrarily went in there
and upped the account
to $13.99.
But everyone's happy.
And you can get 4 devices because we did have that problem where I would go to click on something and it's just like
someone else is watching right now,
and where you literally have to go to the web to just
and disable a device,
kick somebody off. And I'm like, I'm okay with that.
See, I've been in that tier from the beginning.
Oh, the 4 tier?
Yeah. So the kids, the boys, they're away in college. They're using my Netflix. The one in Texas is using my Netflix.
Okay.
So for me, okay, sure, what the heck. Getting the 4K on the TV, so that is very nice to view. Can't argue against that. I do want to look and see if they are going to limit. Are they limiting to 4 devices in total, or just 4 viewing the 4K, and you can maybe get a couple more viewing standard or?
I think it's 4. 4.
Period.
4 period, but you can have 4 ultimate.
Right.
HDR type streams going at once, simultaneously. But my question to you is, how much of this is, hey, this is for the consumer, so you get to view, high definition and hear high fidelity sound, versus, hey, we're burning through cash at 6 to 8 billion for original content,
and we need a little more income,
and we have 125 million subscribers.
It's probably some of both.
Okay.
I mean, this is one way, because, for them, it's get everyone to be a cord cutter. And me, one of the things I've always said, I'm not cutting cords because it doesn't look as good, and I care about surround sound and all the other. If I can do this, I can get 4K, I can get audio the way it should be. All right, I'm still not going to complain. This can make you go a little farther towards cord cutting. And again, with all the content, we're talking Netflix specifically here. With all the content they have, you can almost live on Netflix, alone, or Netflix and over the air. And you give yourself 1-2 of the services maybe to get more films immediately released, Netflix and their ton of original programming over the air, and all these are in high def and everything. So, okay, it's not yeah, and they need some more money. Well, they want some more money. I don't know if they need it yet.
I'm not. I mean, this package right here, I'm not going to.
Right.
I'm more than, for when I pull up Netflix, whether it's to watch a movie or, like I said, I've still been watching Lost in Space. I haven't gotten through it yet.
I haven't jumped on it yet.
I haven't gotten through it yet, but I'm on
1.
episode 6.
Okay, I just did episode 1. I'll go back, but it was all right.
So as we segue to its competitor, and its primary competitor is going to be Disney. With the acquisition of all Fox Entertainment and everything else like that, and all those properties,
they've got a huge pool rather, of content to fall back on.
Okay, and they have, The Last Jedi just popped up on Netflix. All the Marvel Netflix. Yep. So they're going to pull all of that.
That's all going to get pulled, right?
It's going to get pulled.
Or they'll be charging, and I mean, they make money either way.
Okay.
They could go both routes.
Okay, so explain.
Well, I'm thinking, they could still let it stay on Netflix.
Okay.
Because they're getting a fee from Netflix to host it there, and I don't know if they get a per view or whatever the case, but they're making money there. And sure, they could put it on their own service as well, because the Disney service, I don't know. I'm still, even though we know they are not, but when I hear Disney, I still think more the younger programming.
Yes.
And that's going to be that seems still to be their main realm. So they can let the old traditional Disney content be the core of what's on their service, because children, youth, family, that's a huge market.
Right.
And still the older Pixar, right. Let it live right there. And still have some of the other things that are their content, the things they own, their properties, be on some of the other services. And they're still making money there anyway.
Are you paying for it?
I mean, no.
Said it too quick. Do you subscribe to Hulu?
No.
Do you plan to ever subscribe to Hulu?
I doubt it.
Me either. I mean, I was actually watching Amazon Prime yesterday.
Yes.
Wait, Amazon Prime or Amazon Video? What's it called?
Well, it's the same difference now, but yeah, video is part of Prime. But if you get more, yeah.
I was watching that. It was like a knockoff show called Betas, which is like the knockoff version of Silicon Valley, which was on HBO.
Okay, fun show.
And I was like, okay. Then I was just getting the feel. I was like, was this shot in standard def?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's one of those like 2013 series where you're like, did they or did they not embrace it or not?
Okay.
I don't know. I think people are going to. Let me rephrase this. They're almost in overload with these subscription services.
I think it's beyond almost.
Okay.
Yeah. We're there.
Right, because for someone like both of us who are cable subscribers or satellite subscribers,
right,
and then you have all these ancillary cord-cutting subscription services, and then, they're trying to jam another one at you, and you're just like, wait a minute,
I don't need it.
I don't need it, and you can't make me subscribe to it.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I am still, with all the different services, I am a Netflix person. I am also an Amazon Prime subscriber, so I get the Amazon Video that comes along with the Prime subscription. And, of course, because of cable, get the different network-specific app-based channels, the HBO Go's and the Showtime Maxes and the Cinemaxes and all those part of my cable subscription.
Okay, I need you to explain something to me.
Okay.
HBO Go versus HBO Now.
One is for the non-subscriber. If you don't get it through a cable channel, then you get the other. And I forget which one goes where, but
gotcha.
Yes, I think it's
Same thing. Same thing.
The content's probably the same. I've never had to look at both because I get one and not the other.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so something happened recently with, it's nothing new for us, but with the way the podcasting or the RSS feeds work with podcasting with Apple.
Okay, what did Apple go and do now?
So Apple Podcasts, which is the biggest.
Yes.
It's like, when you think of podcasting, you're like, oh, I got to be on iTunes. I have to.
Got to be there, right.
And then everything else flows. So the inside baseball side of it is, for us, is we get the show. We perform live once a week.
Yep.
For about roughly 55 minutes.
Yep.
Until Brian kicks us out.
Time for someone else to come into the studio.
We're like, no!
Are you ready?
Okay, so he kicks us out the studio.
Yes.
The show itself is recorded. We take that show and then upload it.
Correct.
The show is then uploaded to said service.
Yes.
Said service is then connected with 18 other services.
And it republishes.
And it all spiderwebs.
Yes.
However, your buddies at Apple.
Oh, my buddies.
Your buddies at Apple decided. If it's not HTTPS, you're dead in the water. So now all the other services that tie into Apple Podcasts
also have to be HTTPS.
Scrambling and struggling right now.
And suddenly, all those certificates need to be upgraded or installed in some people's cases.
Or installed. So it's so funny because in our world, we mention SSL certs.
Yep.
We mention different tiers of SSL certs. Yep. It's now being introduced
to the rest of the world,
to the
masses.
Right.
Yes.
And they're just like, what? So they're no longer accepting HTTP, your favorite website, /RSS feed.
So I'm wondering if it's one of two things, right? So either they're doing this to get ahead of a potential issue, or someone found a backdoor, or someone figured out a way that's like, oh, let's go through the feed. It's a non-secured feed into a podcast, and then someone's going to download it, and then we'll execute something, and they'll never know.
Yes. You are totally right, my friend. This is Late Night Parents with Rich and Ted. Ways to follow the show, latenightparents.com. On the site, you can hit up the Twitter feed or the Facebook feed, or you can peruse the archive, a podcast.
And this podcast is also being recorded, so there will be some video clips going up on
great.
Facebook and linked on Twitter.
Great. What else? So it's been rather hot. The weather.
Last week was more than rather hot. Even though, again, we're in New Yorkers, so, for us regionally, temperature is 95 and all that. We're like, oh my God, it's so hot. And people out in the Midwest and Texas, and, they're like, you laugh at 95 degrees. They're like, let's get to 110.
It was brutal.
It was humid, sticky, and hot. Yes, it was.
So this segment kind of segues a couple of places.
Okay.
Safety tips for being out there.
Okay.
People hear about things called SPF. People hear about, you kind of look at
sunscreen.
If I don't wear sunscreen versus if I do, the photons that are available, what I'm subjected to.
Okay.
What enters the skin.
All right.
What doesn't enter the skin.
And the damage that it can do when it gets through.
Damage it can do. However, I want to tie that in with now with you and your new civil servant duty.
Yes.
Do you wear sunscreen?
I have not been wearing sunscreen, but I do only have on short sleeves. Otherwise, I've got on a hat, and everything else is covered up. But I should.
But when you're out there providing service,
yes,
to the beautiful folks,
yes,
of Suffolk County,
to the citizens of Suffolk County.
I mean, have you been out there? Is it like evening events? Has it been like
I've
daytime
done
events?
I've done both. I've been on daytime events on the 4th of July out in one of the towns. They had their town parade, so we were out there standing there. But it was in shade. There was kids were shooting us with water.
Okay.
It was comfortable. And then I did evening events as well. So, but we'll do everything. So I will be out there. So it is something I thought about actually. Even that day I was out there for the parade. It was sunny. I was like, I should have something to just slather on the arms a little bit just to prevent getting a burn and prevent the damage, because it does happen very quickly. You always can tell the people who, when they were younger, were out in the sun all the time trying to get that tan,
super wrinkly,
super freckly. And it's dangerous. Those freckles can turn into something a little more dangerous, and people have to be careful. So you do have to wear that sunscreen with a high SPF factor to prevent the damage that the solar radiation can do to your skin.
So there's a question this week on a tool that we talked about. I mean, it's global. It's a global tool. Facebook Local.
Yes.
Have you used it?
No, I haven't.
I haven't either. But I've heard so many different people talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And with you being in information technology, would you have a problem using Facebook Local? On just thinking, a few months ago, we saw Brian's buddy,
Which
on Capitol Hill.
Oh, Brian's buddy. He's your friend now.
Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg.
Yes.
He was hanging with Brian.
Talking about we'll secure it. We'll do what we can. We will make changes. See, I try to keep location services wherever possible set to, all right, let it ask me when it wants to use it, not stay on all the time, and shut it down afterwards. Right. I totally get where, and I don't know enough about the app, but knowing Facebook, this is going to be it's got to, based upon your location, let you know what's in the area, food, lodging, sites to see, things like that, which is great. Nothing wrong with that at all. So to answer your question, would I have a problem with using it? No.
Okay.
No, because let's face it, Facebook has all our information anyway, so at this point that almost doesn't matter. But so I want to be able to turn it off. As I'm holding
this phone, and I'm saying...
Go ahead, say it out loud.
As I'm saying Rich Valdez, and when I open up Facebook later on, and it just shows me a collage of pictures.
Of all those pictures of me. Or mini-me.
And you tell me that, no, it's not doing anything.
I didn't say that.
You know?
We know they're tracking. We know that they're gathering data to present to you when you connect in, because it thinks from the logics, from the metrics, they think this is what you want to see next. So you're right.
I think it's a slick idea for a local app for crowdsourcing to know about events and everything of what's happening in the local area. Totally. On the heels of Cambridge Analytica,
right?
I don't know. Hey, did you get a chance to see Ant-Man and the Wasp yet?
Not yet.
Talk about it next week.
You did?
Yeah, we'll talk about it next week.
I will.
Or in 2 weeks.
I might get to see it.
We'll talk about it in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Just
the ending.
I've heard.
Oh, you did?
I've heard about the ending. The ending is like ties everything together.
Snapshare.
Okay, no, I don't know. Snapshare? Oh, yeah, Snapshare, yes.
Snapshare.
Yes.
The ending, or the mid-credits. If you weren't a fan, did you see the first Ant-Man?
I thoroughly enjoyed the first Ant-Man.
I thoroughly enjoyed the first Ant-Man.
Yep.
Took my son with me.
Yep.
He enjoyed it.
Yep.
And it wasn't one of those heavy Marvel type,
right.
The end of the world is happening.
And here we go.
Right. Totally fun movie.
Good.
Totally the Ant-Man family and all
the guys, the crew, the three guys. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Good. Perfect.
All of that. And the Snapshare happens.
And then Snapshare happens.
Okay. At
that's
the
good.
most inopportune time.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I did see something over though.
Okay.
A film which I said I probably would never see.
Solo?
No, Solo. Of course I saw that. Saw that when it was released.
Oh, okay.
Justice.
It was on HBO. It was
on
trending
HBO.
on Twitter.
It was on HBO last night.
It was trending on Twitter.
I was watching the Bill Maher comedy special, which
What'd you think?
was hilarious.
Okay.
And then it came on next, and I almost changed the channel, and I said, "All right, I can sit here and see what happens with this or where it goes." Horrendous.
Could you tell what Todd Vandenberg and I were talking about with the two different directors? Could you see
You could tell that there was a loss of cohesiveness.
Yes.
In the way the actors were acting, in the way things were being portrayed. More
than one director.
It's two different movies. Actually, it's like 4 different movies, but it's really 2 different movies.
I saw it trending last night.
Yeah.
And I said, "Uh-oh." I said, "Uh-oh.
This isn't going to be good."
And I clicked, and I was just like, I didn't even turn to it. Rich, I like this.
So I need to. All right. Well, we have a few minutes here. So I need some education now. Some DC Universe education. So the main villain.
Yes.
Was that a normal DC character?
He was a normal DC character, but he was in the comic books.
Yep.
He's an underling of Darkseid.
Okay.
In the cinematic universe, he's an uncle of Darkseid. So it's like
Darkseid. Tell me, what's a Darkseid?
Darkseid is like a Thanos.
Okay, thank you.
So he's the forebearer.
Okay.
Forerunner
of Darkseid.
For Darkseid, but yeah, it's just
the
cubes,
some
of the CG.
The CG was kind of weak, and these days in 2018,
yes,
CG has no reason to be weak, especially smudgy upper lips.
Nothing at all.
Smudged upper lips should not exist in 2018.
Oh my goodness, we get to rehash all of this.
The bad and the good.
Yeah, it's painful.
It was. I almost turned it off after the first 45 minutes. And I said, I'm sitting here doing other things on the computer. It can be on the side. I'll just let it go.
I think a big mistake by Warner Brothers was we need to have this all wrapped up in under 2 hours.
Yeah, it looks like, it was almost like they really didn't know they were going.
No.
And let's just, okay, it's going to be the new Justice Hall or Hall of Justice or whatever, and put a table here, but leave room for more. Very glad I paid not a cent to see it in the theaters.
That's why I go matinee. That is the reason why I go matinee. You always say, Ted, it's a cheap,
No, I never say that.
You got to go matinee with some of this stuff.
Very true. You're right.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, we're getting ready to close out of here. I will say welcome back to office work tomorrow.
Office work tomorrow.
Back in a physical office. Yes. That's going to be great for you. Great to see you tomorrow. Anything happening this week?
This week, my middle son, will be coming to visit from Texas with his fiance.
Pretty good.
He's going to a wedding, so we're going to have a little engagement party at the house on Friday.
Nice. Friends
and family, of course, you already know you are invited. Please come by.
Yes.
That's it. And back to work. Get back in that groove. But I know that a certain Ted was there holding things down while I wasn't there, so there's nothing for me to do.
We were trying. I will share this last thing with you. I was doing an office move last week.
What?
On Tuesday with 30 minutes to go. With our good friend Kenny Lowe. Moving an office and a phone, a PC, locating it, all the above, just so you wouldn't have to walk into any mess and have to scream on anyone.
See how they take care of me.
So, with that, we are out.
We are out. Everyone, thanks for listening. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.